Oh, I got to get this off my chest, folks. This happened to me yesterday. I had a delivery at Safeway, and I think it was originally maybe about $9. And I started communicating with the customer. Hey, I'm starting to shop, and the customer responded back to me basically that they had a bad experience with a previous driver, basically dealing with donuts that they had ordered, and they said the driver didn't have respect for their donuts and they just threw them in the bag and all this different stuff. So I was just like, okay, well, you'll have a better experience with me. So basically I went and shopped for the majority of the items, and there was two items, well, at least three items on the list that there was issues with those items, substitutes or whatever. Even with the donuts, the lady wanted white frosting and they only had blue frosting. Now, I was in the store when the inside Safeway when they're actually stocking the donuts, and I didn't see any of the white sprinkles in there. And I contacted the customer and said, hey, they got these blue ones, and they're just, she was like, well, what are those like? And when I asked the lady that was stocking the donuts, she said basically they taste the same, they just have different color frosting. The frosting is blue. So anyway, so I ended up substituting. I ended up not even getting the blue donut. The lady wanted like another donut, so put that donut in there and had the whole box together. Now, normally, when you go in to do a Uber shop order, you scan all the barcodes. Well, there's no barcode to scan for these donuts, and the lady that was stocking the donuts was like, well, when you get up to the register, just ask them and they'll fix it. So I was like, okay. So and I was thinking, nah, but that's not gonna work. But anyway, so I went with what the lady said. So then the lady wanted these kind of like these watermelon cure drink packets, and she only had one on the list. And I said, she said, well, can you add more? So I went into Uber, try to change quantity, did not work. Contact the customer and I said, can you please change it on your end? So I didn't get any word back for a long time, but the lady the whole time when I was shopping was bombarding me with messages, and different stuff. And I'm just like, oh God, I'm just like, I like the communication, but when you're trying to shop, it's kind of a hassle. So anyway, so um, at the last minute, she's like, what about the watermelon? And I'm like, what is she talking about? And for it slipped my mind. I was like, okay. And then finally, well, this is after I finished the order. Well, after everything happened, and I realized that she was talking about the watermelon flavored cure things. So anyway, but I didn't even get to finish the order. What happened was when I went to the cash, went through the line, um, they basically, and I know I should have went through just the self checkout, but I went through the regular line. But when I got to that part with the donuts, the guy was just like, well, where's the barcodes? And I was like, how is the driver going to produce the barcodes? So I'm like, I don't have any barcodes. And he didn't, I didn't see a solution. He didn't see a solution. So I contacted the customer. I said, hey, I can't even check out because I can't scan these donuts. And mid sentence, you know, the phone hung up. And I was just like, just cancel the order. I try to work with my customers and stuff, but I didn't have time for that. And the order was taking extremely long. Most of the people, I'll tell you the truth, I hate shopping because it's always something. It's never just an easy pick this up, whatever. You're trying to um substitute items and stuff. I really feel like shopping should go away. I really do. I mean, I know people in different states probably make money off Instacart or Uber or whatever doing shopping, but I think it should go away because of this whole substitution thing. And then you have customers that really don't understand that you can only do so much. So, in the comment section, has anybody ever seen where you have to scan like items like a donut, and how do you rectify it? My thing though is if I learn my lesson, I find out how to do it, I'll do it. I'll maybe take another shopping order, but this was ridiculous. And like I said, I didn't, and when I talked to the customer, I didn't get nasty with her or anything like that. But when I cancel those orders, I'm not communicating back with the customer. Let them call Uber support. Let them, and that also makes me mad though too. Is like, if the customer does call, I know they're going to have a bad experience with some of the support because they can't understand what they're saying. I feel like, I don't know, man. When they customer support should be directed to people that have good communication skills and also people that you can understand. There's been so many times where I've called customer support, the microphone quality, it sounds muffled, all this different stuff, and I'm just like, I can imagine what the customers are dealing with. But the reason why I always want to rectify this stuff is it still reflects poorly on the other drivers and it causes more problems for the other drivers. So if I can fix my mistake and learn from my mistake, I will personally take accountability, but I'm not going to be arguing back and forth with customers. I'm not going to put myself in a position where, the customer feels like I'm trying to get over on them because I'm not. I try to fulfill the lady's order to the best of my ability, but when I got to that cash register and trying to check out, that was a freaking nightmare. And like I said, and the lady, like I said, blow by blow, she was asking me stuff and I was giving, sending her pictures. Okay, here's the donuts. Okay, they're out of this, they're out of that. But these shopping orders are ridiculous sometimes. It's just like, error prone, and I don't see them solving it. But like I said, anybody in the comment section, let me know. Cause like I said, normally everybody knows, you just scan you scan a box of cereal, you scan everything. But when it got to them donuts, the lady was just like, "Okay, just take them up to the register." I'm like, okay, well, maybe they got barcodes up there or whatever. And I scan them and then enter it in there, but that didn't happen. And like I said, I didn't, and I know the customer. Now, here's the thing, though, too. And sometimes I leave some stuff out. The order after I canceled it popped back up again. Now, I could have waited and taken it again, but really, folks, when you cancel some of these orders, it's a good thing because you've already spent so much time. But immediately after I had canceled that order, I got a good delivery from Walmart Spark, and I was just like, I'm not messing with this. But peace out.